recording on the soundboard.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh.
All right, here we go. What episode is this? What are we?
Good
50?
Lord.
7?
I want to say
152.
58.
Hold on, I honestly don't know.
Honey.
Tackle and Tacos website podcast.
Your rods.
Little
58.
Yeah,
Nate,
58.
you
I'm
just-
sorry.
You're right.
knew.
You're so smart. All right, here we go. We're so professional. Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 58 of Tackle and Tacos, a fishing podcast. We are here in the garage. Nate is in Iowa in his basement, not a garage,
Yes.
but, something
Not
similar.
a garage.
Yeah, but we are basically, if you read any magazine articles or books, like how to do a podcast, they all say start in a basement and a garage.
Oh yes.
And so we're just following like the formula to be the next Joseph Rogan, which is really what our goal is here. Anyway, welcome, episode 58. We're pretty pumped about this one. We have 3 guests, 2 kind of separate entities. The first is Jason from Stinky Pants Fishing, a friend of ours, a friend that we made via the show, which I've said before is easily my favorite thing about doing this podcast, making friends with people. And it's not just like it's rad that we've become friends with Austin Felix or Brandon Polinick and all that. But maybe when I was younger, I was more into famousy stuff, but
yeah.
now I don't really give a rat's ass.
Right.
I just want to be friends with people. And so Jason is just one of the coolest humans on earth. And we're excited to have him in just for a minute because he's been on before, but to say something cool. So, and then the other huge guest, which just has every bit of me excited, is the owners of Carolina Fishing Tackle, which if you're a bass fisherman and if you're a bass fisherman who likes JDM, Japanese domestic market stuff, I guarantee you already know who Carolina Fishing Tackle is. They have the raddest store online, carolinafishingtackle.com. They've been doing it for a super long time, and they have everything, every crazy lure, every crazy brand. And I think I first got into JDM stuff about 15, 16 years ago, because I've always had this weird obsession with being the guy on the lake who has the lure that nobody else has, so I wanted something.
Fish haven't seen this.
Yeah, they haven't seen this one yet.
That's what he says when he throws that.
Yeah. or I get something like this. Can you hold that up to the camera a little bit? This is a Arcadia Reef AR Lures lipless crankbait that has a weird prop on the front of it, lipless crank with just the most beautiful paint job, very Japanesey, that I will literally never throw because I'm too nervous to potentially break it off. But this is the kind of stuff you get from Japanese fishing, and we'll let them get into it, but it's going to be dope. So yeah, very excited for today.
Make sure to check us out, tackleandtacos.com or Tackle and Tacos for Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
Your turbs.
Give us a like. That was so cheesy.
Give us a like. Give us a follow. Hit that, smash
Ring
that subscribe
bell.
button. Yeah. What is that smash? When did that become a thing?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, buy some merch. Do all the things, you guys.
Yeah.
Leave us a review.
Yeah, that's a big one, dude. So we've talked about this before, but when you leave a review, especially on Apple Podcasts, a positive, it's got to be a 5-star, and then write a review. The more of those we have, the more chance we have of, if you're on another podcast, it'll say you might also and then it would show us. And those suggestions, this, they can be humongous for helping us.
So you do it, have your family do it.
Yeah, for helping
everybody
us grow.
do it.
That can be
Thanks.
that can
We
be a
love
big
you.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate all those things, and we also appreciate all the folks that help us do this. Our sponsors, if you will. Of course, Grizzly Coolers and Kenai Gear specifically. Gotta show those guys some love. Thank you so much. Giltech and Hook and Arrow Supply. The dopest jigs. I think I told the story about my daughter catching that big bass down in Alabama on that Giltech swim jig. Yeah, that was so much fun.
But that is kind of a cool selling point, though, right? Nate, you're no diss to your daughter, she's awesome, but she's not Aaron Martin's. She's just a kid. And when you throw something like a swim jig, it doesn't get snagged super easy, and you can pop it and Alabama shake it, or you can reel it straight back in. So I mean, that's a cool selling point. It's a lure that works from intro fishermen to experts.
Very versatile.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So, of course, Loophole Optics, the folks over, God, I love those things. Yes, sir. And of course, the folks over at the Working Class Hunter podcast for letting us do this week in and week out, being a part of their podcast network. So thank you. And I think you can get all our stuff on Waypoint TV as well, right? So
yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Videos,
yes,
podcasts, all that stuff.
Yeah. So Waypoint TV, thank you guys. So
yeah, huge shout out to those fellas.
Speaking of Working Class Bow Hunter podcast, they are having their annual WCB shoot.
How do you spell shoot?
SHEWT.
Yeah.
It's June 15th. And where is it? I have to read this. Sorry. Galesburg Archery Club. Big Tine is title sponsoring the event with 40 acres of food plot giveaways. They have tons of great partners this year with tons of great giveaways. There's an after party. It's just going to be a really good time.
Yeah, we're going to try to make it. I don't know if I'll be able to. I don't know if I'll be able to get it off work. Nate, I don't know if you'll be able to make it. I'd love for us to get down there for it. But basically, if you've never seen the Working Class Bow Hunter shoot or heard of it, it's exactly that. It's just a whole bunch of people getting together. There's like a 3D archery range, like a course that you can shoot or not shoot. You can just go and hang out if you want. They'll have merch stuff and sponsors and giveaways, and it's just super fun, super low key.
You can bring your own drinks or coolers or whatever, but they'll also have that kind of stuff available to purchase.
Yeah, it's just the funnest, low key. Like if you're into fishing, hunting, archery, it's just a super fun way to hang out and chill and whatever. Nate, tell us about tacos. Have you had anything good lately?
Yeah, I have actually.
All right,
good. I've had some bluegill tacos.
Oh, shut up!
Shut
up! At the house.
Shut up!
Yes,
that's dope.
So, so the wife and I actually out solo to the lake, out to Lost Grove, and
that's cool.
Yeah, we fished around for a few hours. First couple hours, of course, I was trying to catch some bass, but absolutely nothing was going. Like it was crazy. Like I couldn't get a bite doing anything, throwing a jackhammer, flipping a jig, ripping stuff through the grass that's now foot tall, nothing. And just kind of started milling around, went deep, went shallow. And one of the shallow buckets that we went into, there was a bunch of bluegill. So we kind of went in and started throwing some little crappie nibs. Throwing those little crappie nibs at them on the kids' rods that left in the boat.
Are we talking like push button, like Elsa rods, like Gus has, or more sophisticated?
A little bit more sophisticated. They were just small little 5'6" spinning rods that we got them. But yeah, we just started catching the mess out of them, and then kind of halfway through, we're like, oh, maybe keep a few of these.
We should keep some of these. Yeah, dude.
Yeah. So we started tossing them in the live well and kept a good handful of them. And then I called a buddy. He came over and made his famous homemade tartar sauce. And we put some tartar sauce down on some tortilla shells, some coleslaw, and some hot sauce, and just went to town on them. Made some blue tacos, and they were amazing.
Yeah, so you made it like a fish fry in a taco, like the tartar sauce, the whole thing. That's pretty dope. That's a good idea. Yeah, usually when I do fish tacos, I don't do tartar sauce and stuff. That sounds awesome.
So good.
Yeah. And I'm not a big tartar sauce fan, but my buddy, I don't know what he does. He kind of just makes it from scratch, and it's really, really.
That's dope, dude. Yeah, that's really dope.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We stayed up pretty late. It was a couple Saturdays ago now, but man, it was fun.
Okay.
Love that.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah.
Ours are not that exciting. We needed groceries, and so I was like, what can I make for lunch?
Which is part of the greatness of tacos.
Or was it breakfast? I don't know.
It was kind of a combo.
It was kind of a combo.
Yeah.
So I just scrambled some eggs, put them on some little tortillas with a little bit of cheese and some salsa. And I said, here you go.
But isn't that what's so dope about tacos, though? Is like it's basically just like an edible holder for your food. Like put some breakfast stuff in there, some fish. It doesn't matter. That's what's so dope about it. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah,
I just love tacos so much. If God said to me, you have to pick fishing or tacos, I couldn't answer. I would just cry. I'd say, Lord, no, please don't do this to me.
Right. That is a tough one.
Yeah, I will say I didn't have these tacos, but it's kind of rad, kind of a small world thing. A fellow that I work with, his name is Matt. He just got married last weekend.
Congratulations,
shout out, Matt. Point.
Shout out.
Yeah, hopefully everything goes good there. Hopefully the wedding went well and all that good stuff. But what I do know went well is the what do you call it? What's after the wedding?
The reception.
Reception.
Yeah.
I was gonna call it the post wedding, but I don't think that's the right wording. Anyway, this post wedding, they had our homies
Guac and roll, baby.
a food truck at his wedding, and he didn't really know,
awesome.
like, they gave him like a budget, like here's what we want to spend per plate, whatever. Thought they'd all get like 2 or 3 tacos. Everybody got 5 tacos plus all the extras and like the sides and whatever. And I'm like, dang it, dude, that's so dope. And so it's kind of a cool small world thing, like the best taco place around loves guac and roll, and then caters a buddy's wedding. And
so cool.
Yeah, so that's pretty neat. But really quick fishing stuff, a quick fishing report before we get into Jason and then Carolina Fishing Tackle. And that is, I overcomplicate everything and I have to stop. So the last few times I've had the boat on the water, I'm trying all of these like drop shotty, free rig, Tokyo rig, different ways of catching them. And then I pick up the jackhammer and just knock their day, knock their lights out on the jackhammer. Like every time, everywhere I go. I was at my mom's house. She lives on the Holcomb Flowage, which is a really big rad body of water that has a river system that flows into a lake. And I went out there with the kiddos, and then I made kind of a long run, just me and our oldest boy, Dominic, to a little patch called Cranberry Lake. And I'm not trying to give away all the juice, but it's a really fun spot. And I'm throwing all this stuff, trying to bounce. I was bouncing some Lucky Craft and some Mega Bass square bills off laydowns, and I'm getting little bites, but nothing. And then I grab the jackhammer, and like first or second cast, I catch like a 3-pounder, and it's just all the time. And so that's my fishing report for right now.
I just feel humbled and honored that you stole my rod and my
your
lure.
Yeah.
And I just have so much fishing knowledge to give.
Yeah.
So you're welcome.
Yeah, that's clear. I mean, honestly though, that's the funny thing, right? Is we can overcomplicate fishing till the cows come home. And there's just some times where like, just shut up, just grab, like people say, like go down the bank, like grab you a jackhammer, keep it simple.
What color camera was it?
Oh, what color, Jay. It was a B-height delight, dude, all day.
Okay.
And it's the same 3/8 ounce B-height delight that I've had tied on forever. Like there's no paint left on the blade. There's hardly any paint left on the head.
And they still love it.
And they just demolish it. I tend to either, my trailer on it is either a Giltech boot tail swim bait. What's that?
That's a walleye that I caught last weekend in about 2 foot of water on a B-height delight.
They just work all the time. If you're listening to this podcast, Nate just showed a picture on his phone of a nice walleye that he caught on a B-height delight jackhammer. And I always throw the Giltech boot tail swim bait or the Rage Menace bug or Rage Menace on the back. They're both awesome. They work super well. So there you go. All right. So a few months ago, we had a guest on the show via our friend Chase from Rubline Marketing. He was like, "Hey, there's this guy named Jason. He runs this really dope company called Stinky Pants." And we're like, "Yeah, let's look him up. Let's talk to him." And he seemed like a cool fit, so we had him on. Little did we know that he's like the coolest dude ever. Makes some really neat stuff. We'll let him kind of talk about what he makes. But we wanted to have him back on just for a quick minute to make
a cool announcement
about his company. So before we get to Carolina Fishing Tackle,
announcement.
Yeah, something crazy. So let's bring in Jason from Stinky Pants.
What's up, guys?
What up, dude?
Hey.
Just when you thought you were done with me, I'm back.
Never.
We're so glad.
Never.
Why don't you just tell us like really quick, like, who are you? What is Stinky Pants? Like if anybody missed that episode, what do you make?
Yeah.
Okay. So I make fishing gear in San Antonio, Texas. It's used primarily for wade fishing, but could be used for whatever. But I started out making stringers and kind of branched off from there, like floats for pliers, keychains, boga grips. I do wading tackle boxes, and then like 3 different types of stringers. So kind of my bag. I've been doing it for 17 years. And
amazing.
Yeah, I do it. I'm a full-time teacher, so I've been doing it on the side forever. Yeah. And it's gradually kind of picked up steam. And so I guess the big announcement is why y'all brought me back.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah. So I led to, or I mentioned it on the show, but I've been talking to Bass Pro. It felt like forever. I think since the end of last summer, but last week I walked in the store finally, and there was my stringer. So,
oh my gosh, I have goosebumps! I love that so much. That's so exciting.
Dude, get the heck out of here! Stinky
Yeah, I mean,
Pants at Bass Pro.
You can't think of a bigger or more well known place. So,
for sure.
I guess that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, that's amazing, dude. Deal. Yeah, we are so happy for you, dude. Because I do remember talking to you about it on this podcast, like the idea of it, and we were just like, dude, just go for it. You got it. Your stuff is good. And before we actually had a podcast with Jason, he sent us and Nate like a grab box of all these different things that he makes, and we love all of it. A lot of it isn't specific obviously to bass fishing, but a lot of it works really well for bass fishing. And like the wading tackle box with like the kind of like the chest strap, like our boy uses that constantly now. Like he loads it up and goes on his bike and runs down to the lake, and just some awesome well-made stuff. And so we were able to fully actually objectively get behind Stinky Pants and be like, dude, you can do it. Your stuff is really well made. It's clever. It's like a twist on stuff that other people are making, like your own spin on it. And so, dude, congratulations, man. That's amazing.
Thank you. It was definitely, like I said, it took forever to happen. I didn't know if it was going to happen. So it was like a wave of emotions. You know, they contact you, you're honored. And then all of a sudden you start thinking of how it's going to shake out. And then you get nervous, scared. Can I do it? Am I good enough? And then I start going through the actual process of doing it. And there's so many things where I wanted to just throw in the towel and be like, I can't do it. Mostly stuff on the computer. Yeah. I had to do all kinds of stuff I didn't know how to do. And it took me out of my comfort levels. And so it was a wave of emotions. I didn't know if it was going to happen. Didn't know if I could do it. And then it finally happened. And
you did it. You overcame.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And the weird thing is like when it actually happened, when I finally walked in the store and saw it, I wasn't that happy. But it's one of those like delayed, like I didn't want to celebrate. I just kept thinking like when it gets in the store, but it took so long to finally get it in the store. Yeah. But I also think, part of the thing is I like the journey of getting there, not so much the destination. So
totally,
like I'm there and now I'm still looking, okay, now what's next? But it's pretty awesome. And I do truly appreciate you guys' support because, I do consider you guys friends now, but you came in, without an objectives or anything like that. And it felt like, you believed in what I was doing and thought I was good enough to do it. So it felt good to hear it from someone. It's like when you ask your wife, hey, am I getting fat? And you're fat. And she's lying to you. Like, no, you still look good. I didn't feel like that was the case. Like y'all weren't blowing smoke up my skirt. So it felt good.
No, you actually make some dope stuff. And I think people could totally relate to what you were just saying. Cause it's sort of like, when you're hunting like a specific deer or whatever, and then you kill it and it's like sort of exciting and sort of like, well, dang it, now what? Because it's like this wave of emotion, all this pre-work, and now that part of it's done. But just like deer hunting, now you go on to like the next deer. So now for you, it's about like, okay, now I'm in Bass Pro. What can I do with it? Like, how do I? So where, what Bass Pros carry your stuff? How can people support you? Also, give yourself a shout out on like some social stuff so people can follow you.
Okay, so I'm supposed to be starting in San Antonio, Harlingen, and the 3 Houston locations, and then I believe the Buddha and Cabela's. And then they're supposed to be opening a new one in spring, which is like kind of north part of Houston.
Okay.
I'm supposed to go in. So, I guess depending on how sales go and stuff like that, I'm hoping that they'll continue to keep buying and keep putting me in different stores and kind of let me spread out and, things like that. And then my website is stinkypantsfishing.com. And then everything social media is Stinky Pants Fishing. And then another announcement. So the last time I was on here, I was talking about how I hate doing social media. One of my former students was listened to it afterwards, and she was like, hey, let me run your social media. And I thought she was just, joking or whatever, but she was serious. And so I decided to let her do it, and she's been killing it. Like
she's doing such a good job.
Yeah. I'm sure if anyone paid attention to my social media, you definitely know
saw it like
because it's so much better. So,
the pictures are good. The content is good. Yeah. What was her name? Sorry.
Sophia, aka Sopapia. That was my nickname.
Yes. Way to go.
Way to go, Sophia. Sophia the first. That's amazing. Yeah, so now you have an employee beyond you and your dad, and you have a Bass Pro deal. So when does the Lamborghini come in? Like, what is the
interesting enough is they are actually opening a dealership like a block down from my house. So
okay,
I mean, it's just a matter of time. You know?
yeah.
I don't know.
God is connecting the dots for you.
Yeah, I mean, I got to wait for them to get the stuff in there, but I figure I'll probably go pick out a couple of things on there and see. You know,
You'll be the first customer.
Car, you know, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like walking around there. Can we help you? Like, y'all got stickers? I can't buy no car yet, but y'all got them decals.
Yeah.
That'd be dope. I also I want to take 2 seconds and just say a huge shout out to Bass Pro Shops, because like they don't have necessarily like a business or financial obligation to support and to engage with, you know, smaller companies. And I think that's freaking dope. I think that's really cool that they would do that, because I think, you know, obviously it benefits them, because people in the fishing and the hunting community, it can be a pretty cool, tight-knit community. And we want to support local tackle shops. We want to support companies that are smaller, especially when you run into a company like Stinky Pants that's smaller but is doing things the right way. There's no corners cut. There's a crap ton of research that goes into every part, and yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it was nice. It was refreshing to work with them, because they're big, but when I actually like spoke to someone, they were very, very cool and helped me out. I mean, and they probably honestly hated working with me. It took me like 3 attempts for them to accept my pictures, you know, because I'm doing a terrible job cropping them or whatever. And finally I got my buddy who kind of like does like legit photos to do it, you know, and then they accepted it. But you know, everything has been a struggle for me to get them to, you know, so they're probably like, man, he screwed this up, and look at now he's, you know, just.
You're like, I make good products. I don't do the technical stuff.
Let us get to that point.
Yeah, I mean, mailing stuff, it's all way over my head. So, but.
Yeah, that's dope. All right, well, that's Jason from Stinky Pants. You got any? Oh, you got something, Nate? What you got, homie?
No, I was just gonna add, like he said, the journey, all that stuff, you know, the practicing of the photos, the editing, getting that stuff all squared away. It's just gonna make you that much quicker for the next one. So you'll be ready for the next hurdle to jump with Stinky Pants.
Yeah, well, it's, you know, I can watch you guys, the same thing. Like your guests keep getting a little bigger, a little better, and you know, your show keeps getting better, and as you do it, and you know, it's a cool process, and it's crazy how, you know, you go from like, wow, we did this, and then all of a sudden you keep doing that, and then it's become like the norm, you know. Like I remember looking at fishing magazines and seeing my, you know, like that's when the first thing I go through all the pictures. I'm like, look, he's using my stringer, and now it's magazines, and that's the norm. I expect to see my stuff out there. But, you know, it's just little accomplishments, and then they grow and grow, and it's happening for y'all too. So I'm sure you guys can relate what your little milestones you've been celebrating, and then it's on to the next thing, and all that stuff.
Yeah, that natural growth is pretty cool. Here's a milestone that I haven't even told you and Nate yet.
What?
We're a top 10 podcast in Austria. Like not just outdoors, but just a podcast. Why? I have no effing idea. Austria.
Okay.
Not Australia. Austria. We're like 8 or 9.
Go.
For what, I have no idea why, but hopefully Stinky Pants and Carolina Fishing Tackle can move into Austria now after this.
Maybe get podcast. Schwarzenegger on or something.
I mean, maybe we should just shoot small, you know. Yeah. But all right, homeboy, we appreciate you. We're gonna move you out so we can get on to Carolina Fishing Tackle. We wish you nothing but the best, and huge congrats, man.
All right, man. Great to be back.
Congrats.
All right. See you, buddy. Bye. All right.
Peace.
Yeah, so that dude's such a stud. Please support that sucker, man. He is doing it right. I mean, you see, that's his house. He's building stuff in the shop. His dad is like a engineering genius who helps him with all these different things. He's actually working on, I don't know if we're allowed to say it, Nate, but he's actually working on kind of a project, not necessarily for us, but it was something that we talked to him about, that just like everything else he does, it's something that already exists, and he's spinning it, tweaking it, making it better, and
so excited about
over engineering the crap out of it. You know, so that's pretty exciting.
It's gonna be super dope. The time and R&D that he's putting into it, just like some of the pictures and research that he sent us and talked to us about, it's gonna be a dope product that I'm gonna be excited to use for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hopefully I can actually use it, because I haven't really been able to catch it. So.
You haven't had a need for it recently? Yeah. There's no need for the thing he's making yet. Yeah. It's like a stringer. Like, well, I ain't got no fish, but I got this pretty stringer.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So speaking of what Jason just said, having guests on, really quick, small announcement, and then we'll bring in Carolina Fishing Tackle. We have a guest like in spades, like ready to rip. And this was one that was sort of like, you know, I don't know if I'd say a pipe dream, but like he's kind of a celebrity, honestly, and somebody that I'm a legitimate, actual fan of. And I was like, dude, we should reach out to this dude and see. And he was like, yeah, I could do that. We're like, what?
Yeah.
So who are we having on the podcast?
It's Rico, right?
Yeah,
Rico DeWild?
Rico DeWild from Life Below Zero, which is like the dopest National Geographic Alaska show. I love those Alaskan shows, and he's my favorite character on my, well, not character. He's just, he's himself. It's real life. It's not like acting, but he's my favorite dude on my favorite Alaska show. He's I believe the word is, and I could totally ruin this, and I hope I don't. It's like Athabascan or something. Basically, it's like a native, like indigenous tribe of interior Alaska people, and he does this awesome job of like holding tight to his roots and involving his kids all the time in this stuff. And it's super adventure-y. He fishes like crazy, and
every time Jordan's like, "All right, let's go to Alaska."
Yeah, dude. The more like nonsense news that comes out, I'm like, "All right, let's homestead.
Let's go.
Let's take our kids and we'll leave the dog here. We'll take the kids."
I don't know how Walter would do.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine an English bulldog in like the interior of Alaska?
Have him pull a sled.
Yeah. He's a sled dog. He would just like lay down. He wouldn't even think
loves
about
the
it.
Snow.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's a really exciting podcast we got coming up.
Yeah.
Then we're excited to have, we're actually recording it today with another episode with Brian Scaife of Angling Anarchy. I really wanted to have a well-known, intelligent, good on camera, musky guy who can basically give a map book or map layout strategy book for like, if you're fishing this summer, you're trying to find muskies, here's how you do it. Like a really strategic episode. So that's going to be super dope too. Great. So make sure you tune in for that one. Let's bring them in.
Let's do it.
Are you excited? I'm excited.
Yes.
This is one I'm telling you, like
your body language, you are excited. He's so cute.
I'm more excited about this episode than I have been for just about anyone in a long time. That's not like a comparison thing. It's just that like I've really been a big fan of Japanese domestic market fishing stuff, and these are like pillars in that community. Yeah. So this is really exciting. So with no further waiting, let's bring them in. This is Mike and Amanda, owners of Carolina Fishing Tackle. Hey. Hey guys, how are y'all?
Good. Nate, it's good to see you.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Thank you for being here. What where are you guys at? Where in Carolina are you?
So we're the inner banks of the outer banks. So we're on the very eastern side of the state.
Okay.
We're more coastal.
Okay.
Actually, matter of fact, where Major League Fishing is right now, the Bass Pro Tour.
Yeah.
Right where the Chewan River is. And that spills into the Albemarle Sound system. We're just south of there.
Okay. Well, that's what's up.
So that's awesome.
We have a plethora of fishing opportunities, from obviously bass fishing to inshore fishing to the big game fishing.
That's pretty cool.
Fishing, mahi, billfish. You have a big blue marlin tournament this coming weekend, Big Rock, which is a nationally recognized event, and that draws huge. And then you got Major League Fishing's in town with every other team trail, and with inshore events too. So it's an exciting weekend.
Wow, that's dope, dude. That's amazing. Yeah, we have like bluegills and bass here, but that's about the extent of northern Wisconsin. But
I'll give you a little background. So I grew up fishing the Great Lakes.
Right on. Okay.
My heart is really in the Finger Lakes, Lake Erie, Ontario, St. Lawrence River. Always had a love to go out west and fish. I love fishing big baits, big swim baits. Big JDM lever, as you know, and going to those lakes like Clear Lake, right? Those top 10 lakes that you see every year in bass or so forth, and throwing those big baits and going those destination lakes. That's what's always got me, or going to new bodies of water even. But near and dear to my heart, I love the Great Lake fishing. I love smallmouth fishing. Love fishing deep in open water.
Dope.
And the Finger Lakes. I grew up in upstate New York, so we got to do a lot of that.
Dang.
So
yeah, where I came from, it was bass and bluegill, so I get it.
Okay, all right.
We're
not the only lame ones, but I mean, it's not lame. I love doing it. I could do it 25 hours a day for sure. But you guys have a pretty diverse fishery section down there. So before we get into all the Carolina fishing tackle stuff, I kind of want to know about you guys, and obviously you just shared a bit of your story, but also with it being like Great Lakes and like smallmouthy, do you have you heard of Great Lakes finesse stuff, Mike?
I have. I sure have. A lot of baits, and they have very, very good product. Good product. It's diverse, and it catches.
It does too, man. We just had Dan, the owner of Great Lakes Finesse, on the podcast, and like he's just such a cool dude. He's got, what does he have? Triplets.
Boys.
Yeah, and he's such a cool cat, stud fisherman, unique stuff, and yeah. So I know it's not JDM, but it's very specific, cool stuff. But give us a rundown, if you would, each of you, kind of who you are and how you got into fishing, and if you want to go into like specifics on JDM or big swim baits or whatever, you can. But you certainly don't have to. And then we'll talk to you about the shop. Hopefully you guys like tacos. We can ask about that a little
family
bit.
Love tacos.
Yeah, family stuff, whatever. But yeah, who are you guys? How'd you get into angling?
Tacos. He was wanting them. So
attaboy. Yeah, you got one, Nate. You got one.
We love our fish tacos.
Yeah,
heck
absolutely.
Yeah.
So my story is pretty simple. I grew up in Arkansas, so like I said, bass, bluegill, crappie, that kind of thing. But it was just grew up fishing, you know, pond fishing, lake fishing, whatever I could catch with whatever I could find, like, you know, digging through the dirt to find worms. And then it just kind of, I had always fished. And then one day at work, you know, as I got older, someone was like, well, why don't you tournament fish? I don't know. I've never really thought about it. So yeah, then kind of just got into that and met this guy over here, moved to New York, and
wow.
Yeah.
How did y'all meet?
This is a wild one, so you'll like this. We met at in Knoxville, Tennessee, at the Bassmaster Classic through a sponsor of ours. And
that's so cute.
That's the coolest, cutest fishy couple thing I've ever heard.
And you'll like this even more. So we're in a crowd, right? This is right before day one of the Classic, right before the expo, and I just got finished with setting up a booth, and you know, we're tired, I'm hungry, and my father's worked the fishing industry for many years, many decades, and he comes by on a golf cart. He goes, hey, what you doing? Are you hungry? I said, sure am. He goes, would you like to join us for dinner tonight? And he's working for another company, and so we get on this golf cart. He brings me to this restaurant in downtown Knoxville, and this restaurant is crowded. It's a very popular one. It was a go-to downtown for many, and we get there and there's not a seat in sight, and the only seat that was available that was open was next to Amanda. So
I have goosebumps. I love this so much.
That's supposed to happen.
Yeah, it's supposed to happen.
Yeah,
we hit it off. She impressed me. You know, we love
don't
chicken wings.
Don't you bring up the chicken wings? Don't you do it?
Chicken wings. I mean, they were bomb wings. They were good, and I come from chicken wing country, right? Western New York, Buffalo.
Yeah.
So these wings were good, and I'm like, hey, would you like to try this? You know, let's go get some more wings. And she's just down in these wings. I was impressed, and she had.
You go, girl.
She was wide open, like no shame whatsoever. We hit it off right off the bat.
So no shame.
That's awesome.
Down in some wings. I mean, it was
down in some wings. You're like, thanks, honey.
Yeah.
So, and then that's really how we met. That's pretty wild through a trade show, or specifically the Bassmaster Classic.
Dude, I love. Was that the Art Defo Classic?
I believe so.
The one that he was. Yeah. That's awesome, dude. That's beautiful. Yeah. So you sit down to like eat wings. You're like, hey, you like the Gancraft jointed claw? And she's like, yeah, whatever. And then get all specific on some like nerdery JDM stuff. And then the next thing you know, you're in love. But dude, that's beautiful. So what about you, Mike? How did you get your start just in fishing in general and tournaments or whatever else you got into?
Grew up in a outdoor family, pretty heavy in hunting and fishing. And it was really my grandfather and my father, always heavy in fishing. Father fished everywhere nationwide. Every weekend he was somewhere. If he wasn't teaching and coaching, if he had an opportunity to go fish, he'd go fish. And more often than not, I'd go with him, whether it be spring crappie trips on the St. Lawrence River, simple pan fishing. We even love to pan fish, not just bass fish, but we love muskie fishing. We love big pike. We go walleye fishing. We kind of break the rules. Even in New York, the trout opener was always April, the first week of April. If we could, we get out of school early, we go trout fish. We just love to fish. We love the outdoors. We love being outside.
I love it.
Every walleye opener for us, we were out 3 o'clock. We get up 3 o'clock in the morning, prep the boat, prep whatever, pack the coolers with some good food, and we make a day of it or an entire weekend of it. So
that's so fun.
That's awesome.
Pros versus Joes.
Yeah, we've done some TV shows, but I kind of grew up in the fishing industry, and And I worked for several marine and fishing companies as an operations manager, as a sales manager, or as a business development representative.
Wow.
And I currently am for a few. And one of the companies is actually on this hat, Precision Sonar and Outdoors.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're a leading manufacturer for mounts and so forth, and all kinds of marine accessories. So kind of worked the industry from an early age, really from my teenage years, and just grew up in it and developed a love not just for the sport of fishing, but also for the business side. I got to learn that through a variety of individuals in the industry. So I've been blessed at an early age to learn this industry. I mean, gosh, really since the age of 16.
Wow. Golly,
that's
you're
awesome.
in it, dude. Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. So what brought you guys from that that New York area to the Outer Banks of Carolina?
So here's a wild story. I've always loved the coastal lifestyle. Like, it's fun. You can go flip into a blind, right? Who knows? I mean, you could catch a red, you could catch a bass, right? So the fishing opportunity is endless. We love fishing, both Amanda and I. And it's not just for one or two species. So we love that. We love that lifestyle. I mean, I'm from New York. Amanda's from Arkansas. So different lifestyles. And, I've always said we need to live that coastal lifestyle. We both love the beach. We love spending time on the weekends at the beach if we could. And we made that move due to really the lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
Just saying. And
yeah.
I
was scrolling through. Actually, it was at oh my goodness, it was at ICAST last year, I guess, or no, the year before last. I was just scrolling up the East Coast looking for like houses that were in a reasonable price range, and so I was like, oh, this town looks nice. Like, it's got some good houses. I'll go look at some houses there.
That's
that's cool. That's neat that you guys had that like your life, that you had that sort of freedom to do that. Yeah. Heck yeah, that's beautiful.
So we've been blessed. So this is pretty wild too. And Amanda spent some time. She had some time this past year to explore and see some different areas on the coast. And I didn't want to be an influence on this decision, but I said, you need to check out Eastern North Carolina, and that's where my father's family's from.
Oh, okay.
So we had some roots here. I got to know the areas, for the past decade, a little bit more each year. And I've always loved coming down here. And really, it's you always want to get back here. So knowing that feeling, you're like, man, we need to, we need to explore some areas some more. So Amanda took that drive. I mean, she spent close to, what'd you say, week and a half exploring. And matter of fact, so she decides where my father's family, she never knew the background, the history of where they're from, or we lived really about 10 minutes away from where my grandmother was born and raised, and her relatives. And so it's pretty wild.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So she and my grandfather was a Marine who met my grandmother in Camp Lejeune, and she was from the South. My father was from New York, and yours, Amanda's from the South. I'm from New York, and it's pretty wild how things happen.
Wow.
It's like powers from above. It's wild stuff.
Dude, that's really neat. Like the background and where you guys ended up, and that's really cool. Fishing is a beautiful, romantic thing, is it not? It just draws us all together in ways that we can't always expect. But that's really dope. And so I'm really curious about where. So I'm trying to connect the dots in my head and figure out how to say it. But actually, no, before we do that, so you said you like the culture, the lifestyle, the vibe in Carolina. I would assume some of that has to do with like the food and stuff there. Yeah, because I know like in that area, the food is
everywhere.
It's incredible. So tell us about, if you like tacos, tell us about the taco vibe in the Carolinas, man.
Well, where we are, there's not really, there's a lot of like Mexican restaurants, but they're not like those seafood fish tacos. You can go get tacos pretty much any kind that you want. But there's this one spot that we recently found, and it's by far our favorite. And now it's kind of become our go-to, and they make like the best barbacoa tacos ever.
Unique, yeah.
They're very, very, they're so good. Like
You're like, well, now I'm hungry.
Yeah, seriously, gosh. And what is that place called?
La Vaquita Mexican. Yeah.
La Vaquita Mexican. Shout out La Vaquita.
That's
fun to say.
Yeah.
Cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is it about? What is it about their tacos? Tell us about them. Give us. I mean, we're a taco podcast. Just so you know, really quick, press pause. The reason why our podcast is called Tackling Tacos is because a long time ago we were going to start, myself and Lola, and then Nate was going to be a partner in it. We were going to start a tackle shop called The Spot, SPOTT, and the 2 T's stood for Tackling Tacos. So we were going to try and be sort of JDM-ish, and then every day we would make one specific taco to sell. Like today is salmon tacos, tomorrow's barbacoa, the day after that is birria tacos or whatever. And then the place we were going to rent ended up being like $20 million a month. And so we didn't do it. But then when we started a podcast, we're like, dude, let's just call it Tackling Tacos. And so I'm only telling you that because, like, you know, you guys own a tackle shop, an amazing JDM tackle shop. And then that was sort of like our goal, and we love tacos. And anyway, so give us the deets, Amanda. What's so great about their barbacoa tacos?
I think it's just the simplicity, to be honest. Like there's so many that just like try to pile everything on there, and it's just, there's so much happening that you can't pinpoint this one thing. But with these, they're just like perfectly simple but delicious.
Yeah.
It's made from scratch. The tortilla, everything's pretty authentic.
Ooh, is it a corn tortilla or a flour tortilla?
You can choose.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your preference?
I'm a flour person, but yeah.
I am too.
Yeah.
Sure,
yeah.
Yeah, flour's more like white people, right? Like it's kind of how it feels. Yeah. But like corn is dope, but corn also falls apart.
You gotta double it up, and it has to be the right temperature.
It has to be just the right. Like you can get away with a flour tortilla that's not perfect, but like an imperfect corn tortilla is just a mess.
Yeah,
and it's not.
And then
good.
It's like just
yeah, and it's hard to eat and whatever. But yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Do you guys cook?
Oh yeah. Well, I do.
Both of you? Are you okay?
I grill, so I mean, Amanda's like a master chef. I mean, to her standards and expectations, I wouldn't meet him, but she's an phenomenal. You know, Amanda will tell you grilling's not cooking, but
he makes really good scrambled eggs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, we just talked about having breakfast tacos.
See?
Yeah.
So we got that, Lola, Jordan, and Nate. We got
that. Throw those in some tortillas, and all of a sudden you got a fancy breakfast taco. If you really want to get fancy, Mike, you just chop up a teeny bit of cilantro and put it on top, and then it looks like, dang, this dude's next level.
So
yeah, maybe Amanda will be impressed.
So cilantro is one of those things that I've got that, that little slice of genetics that makes it taste like soap.
Soap.
Yeah, that's such a thing.
Yeah.
I hated it until just a few years ago.
Yeah.
Like I never liked it growing up, and my mom would be like, "Oh, here's a little cilantro." I'm Puerto Rican, so cilantro is part of life.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't like this part of my life because it tastes like soap. But I don't know why, but I like it now.
Amanda, you don't put it on anything? No tacos, no salsa, no
nothing.
Really?
No,
because I mean, by itself, Nate, I would think you would agree, right? Like nobody's biting cilantro just by itself. It is weird, and it does smell weird. And it's also impossible to clean up if you get little like chopped up leaves of it all over.
And then it rolls up.
Yeah,
if
you can't.
Like,
anyway, but when you put it on something, it's sort of like I'm a really big fan. Speaking of barbecue, I'm a big fan of blue cheese on top of a steak after I smoke one, and then I use my little propane torch and kind of like caramelize it on top. I know it sounds weird.
I think it's fancy and cute,
but
like, I think blue cheese
it's
is
so
nasty.
good. But blue cheese by itself is disgusting. But you put it on a steak, and it's so freaking
disgusting.
Good. No, it's not. Anyway, yeah. Mike, do you ever put blue cheese on your steaks?
Oh, I like blue cheese. It's more with wings, but.
Oh yeah, attaboy. Yeah, for sure.
Amanda knows that.
Yeah. No,
okay.
We eat a lot of chicken, though. I mean, Amanda loves the barbecue. Actually, matter of fact, that's what we're having tonight.
Yep.
Nice barbecue chicken. And
dope.
Heck yeah.
Pull out that Traeger and get that smoker rocking.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, man, we're the same way. Yeah, we have a propane grill on the back deck and a Traeger, and kind of Nate has what? A propane grill, a smoker, a Blackstone. What all you rocking with, Nate? You're kind of a barbecue aficionado also.
That's it. Yeah, I've got a little carport kind of off my garage, and it's basically a outside cooking station. There's got the Blackstone out there, got the Pit Boss pellet grill, and it does the searing and all that good stuff. So I try to do it all out there for sure.
Yeah, that's dope, dude. Mike, Amanda, have you guys heard of the company, the brand, the seasoning in Waxahachie, Texas called Meat Church? Have y'all heard of that?
I have not.
I have not.
No,
Man, y'all better get on that. Yeah, Meat Church. Number one, the name is super dope. Number two, the guy who owns it, his name is Matt Pittman. So like, it's like
Great
the
name.
Lord wanted him to be like a barbecue guy. Like his name is Pittman for corn's sake. But he has like a super dope outdoor kitchen deal set up, and he's sponsored by like Yeti and Traeger, and they're pretty big. So like his spot is legit. But if you go to his YouTube, I would assume it's just Meat Church. I'm not sure, but he has all these
I think
super.
It is,
yeah, he has all these like really specific, easy to follow how-to videos, like for everything from brisket to pulled pork to
smoked queso,
ribs, and then some specific, cool, unique stuff like smoked queso, which is unfreaking believable.
Have it with some pork rinds.
Smoked jalapeno poppers, like sour or not sour cream, cream cheese, and crabs stuffed jalapeno with like bacon wrapped, and like anyway, man, God
I'm
dang
hungry.
it, we always talk food on this show, and then I get hungry. But
y'all should
y'all should check it out. Meat Church. Yeah, Meat Church, and they make really specific seasonings, and they're all like, because it's called Meat Church, they're all like sort of gimmicky, but in a cool way, like the Holy Gospel Rub and like Holy Cow and Heavenly Ham and all these like funny named things, but they're really dope. So, all right, well, let's get off this. Let's switch gears to tackle.
Do it.
How did you?
I'm just gonna sit back and listen.
No, come on.
Kidding.
The jackhammer's JDM. That's like your favorite thing to throw, and that's technically JDM. It's a combo with Evergreen. So how did you guys, before we even get into the shop, how did you both get into? Were you into JDM before Carolina Fishing Tackle?
Yeah, so I was always in JDM. I was that guy that always thought it was sexy, right? We often use that term with JDM baits. Oh, this is sexy, right?
Yeah.
In general, I was always intrigued by big baits, and you mentioned this, Jordan, earlier, baits that not everyone's throwing, right? So if you're in an event, practice, everyone's throwing this, or they're on this bite, or they're on this bait, say they're on a jackhammer, and they see that a lot, but they don't see maybe a different version of that, or they're on a swim jig, maybe something different. I've always been that guy that wanted to throw something different. I didn't want to. And I always found a reward in finding an untapped pattern.
Yeah, totally.
I was that guy always searching for the latest and greatest and the next biggest, baddest thing. And JDM has always been appealing to the eye, but I mean, JDM baits, the finishing from the paint jobs to the action, the design, everything that goes into it, it's top notch. There's a lot of science that's overlooked and not noticed and seen. And that's what I appreciate. Just the quality of bait that, some of these designers overseas, what they see in a bait is amazing. That's often overlooked here, even. And not only is it appealing, but the baits catch, right?
Yeah, totally.
And it's nice. It's nice to have that bait or two in your arsenal that you can go behind somebody, or really show them a different presentation, bait that works, trigger a fish or two that they might not have got. So there's a lot of events that are, they fish small, and there's bodies of water here that really fish small. And they could be massive bodies of water, but I can go behind them and hopefully get one or two fish that they may not have. So that, those are some of the reasons why. And there's so many great techniques that have yet to be brought to the U.S. too.
Sure.
That I think that's a big draw power right into JDM. We're always years behind, or the West Coast may catch on first.
Yeah.
And you see it throughout the nation, but if you really do your research and you're digging, you talk to some of these guys, and I've been blessed to know some of these individuals overseas, and these lead product designers or senior product designers, and develop these relationships, and basically get some of the baits before you even see retail stores get them. That's always been pretty, that creates hype in itself. So it's just nice to know. You can grab a bait, it's ready to go. More often than not, a lot of these baits you don't need to tweak. They're spot on. They're good. The colors are good. Everything about them, from the head to the back to the terminal tackle, the split rings, the hooks. Yes, we may make some adjustments. So that's what I can appreciate with JDM tackle alone.
Man, that was a really good summary of JDM stuff. Cause you're right. Like a lot of dudes, especially, my dad got me into fishing, and sometimes he'll look through some of my tackle and I'm like, oh yeah, that jerk bait's like, $30 or $35 or whatever. And he's like, what? Like he just can't get his brain around it. And I'm like, yeah, but this color is unbelievable. It was a limited edition. I don't have to change out the hooks. It's going to run true right out of the box. Like you said, the terminal side of things, the split rings are strong.
It's worth the money.
It's worth the money. And like you said, it's something that a lot of the fish, I mean, again, looking at this AR lipless, the paint on this thing is unbelievable. I mean, it's not like anything else you've seen out there. And we had a buddy now, again, made a friend through the podcast, AJ, from a company called Horseshoe Custom Tackle. He is an unbelievable custom bait painter. I mean, his craft is respected across the country by everybody who paints lures. And he was saying on that podcast, like he cannot duplicate Mega Bass paint jobs. Like can't do it. And this dude is a freak. Like he is a genius, and he was full blown, not unashamed. Like I can't duplicate a lot of the Mega Bass patterns. Cause like sometimes people will send him lures and be like, hey, can you do this kind of color or whatever? And he's like, I can't do that one. That's pretty neat for a guy who does custom stuff, can't put out the stuff that Mega Bass is semi mass producing. That's pretty neat. Yeah. So let me ask you a question, Mike and Amanda. I always heard, and I don't know if this is like wives' tale status or if this is like a real thing. I've always heard that part of why JDM stuff is so unique is because a lot of the waters in Japan are super heavily pressured. And so the guys there are constantly having to like reinvent themselves, reinvent how they present lures, reinvent how the lures look, just to keep the bass from getting so conditioned to what they're doing. Is that accurate? Is that a real thing, or did I make that up?
That's spot. Really, that's spot on. I think you see a lot of techniques here. Like I'll give you an example, like flick shake. We've seen on the West Coast probably a decade or more, but it's still pretty new to many anglers today, bass enthusiasts especially. But gosh, like a flick shake technique or spike baiting, some of those other techniques, they've been overseas for well more than a decade. This hover strolling, mid strolling techniques like that, it's more recent years here in the US, especially on the tournament arena and that scene. But gosh, that's something that's been around for well over a decade. I mean, some of these guys overseas, I mean, there's been a few here in the US too. There's some product designers I won't mention, but they've been using this technique for, 15, 20 years, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I think, the visibility and the social media channels and the videos, and you see all these, you see more and more tournament anglers catching on to it at all levels. So it's out there now, but it took a while to catch on here. And a lot of guys wanted to keep it on the low, but it's been around. But those are techniques that all developed because of pressured legs like BY. Everyone hears the famous like BY. Gosh, it's, it's a place that you go to and it's nonstop. It's hammered. And I see like Nate, Gunnersville Tackle Outdoors. That's a wonderful operation, right? But if you watch how Gunnersville, the lake there, and I've gone there often, fished it often. They've stayed a lot of, I know a lot of people that guide and live on the lake. And if you watch that lake from 15 years ago to 10 years ago to 5 years, and even now it's changed quite a bit, but it's pressured. People from all over the U.S., from the East Coast to the West Coast, have moved there and set up shop there, set up home, built new homes, and decided to guide. But that's a lake that's pressure and that's changed, and it's changed the way you fish that lake. And it's the same with BY, right? So I think there's a lot more techniques we'll see in the coming years when it comes to finesse fishing, specifically. That's starting to get known, but that's not really known. And I think a lot of the anglers are still keeping it on the low. But all that really derives from is pressure fisheries.
Yep. So, yeah. Necessity is the mother of invention. They're like, well, they've seen that. So how can I tweak it? And so I think the most brilliant JDM thing in the last 10 years is the fuzzy dice, right? I mean, that's, honestly, was somebody on drugs? I mean, like was somebody on some like Japanese like LSD, and they're like, it would be dope. We were in the basement one night, me and my buddy, and we were shooting dice. And then I thought, let's put some jig material through that mother effer and catch a fish on it. Like I remember when I first saw the fuzzy dice, and then I saw it on eBay for like $60 a bag, and I'm like, get out of here! Like, just stop. But it works though. That's the craziest, goofiest thing about it. But yeah. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, so let's get off the fuzzy dice. But all right, so let's what are some, Mike and Amanda, what are some brands? Because most people know Lucky Craft. Most people know Mega Bass. You know, people are getting to be more familiar with like OSP and Nori's and some of these brands. But what are some other brands of like JDM stuff that maybe people don't know about that are really making some cool stuff?
Yeah. So that's what really makes Carolina Fish and Tackle, has always made Carolina Fish and Tackle very unique. So before we get to that, we'll show you some baits. We may have some baits here actually.
Oh, snap.
That
heck yeah.
You may not know of. I mean, you hear the Mega Bass, you hear the OSP, you hear the Evergreen and so forth. But there's a lot of baits that we have partnered up with designers and ownership overseas, and some brands that we're going to bring into the U.S. that have never been brought here before too. But going, and I got to give props to the original owner, Doyle. He had this model in place, not just to be like a JDM superstore, but is to bring something very unique overseas to hear and really learn about the product before he even brought it in, right?
Yeah.
Product knowledge is huge, and I value that. And let's bring some of the best, right? Let's bring the Bugattis of baits out there to the U.S.
Right, yeah.
It's not known, right?
Yeah.
So that has always made CFT, Carolina Fish and Tackle, very unique in itself. Yes, it's had this huge offering of JDM, but even brands you have never seen, or baits that are exclusive, or ownership, or brand ambassadors have been part of the company to bring some of these baits over, some of the paint jobs and so forth. But I'm a talker. I'll cut to it. Like one of the baits, Take, Amanda, I think we have more. But so like this bait right here is made by Take, and this is a handcrafted bait. It's custom, right?
Gosh, that's beautiful.
No air balls. The paint jobs will exceed many expectations.
Gosh, that's gorgeous.
This is a bait that we partner up with this paint job, and we have more coming. Unfortunately, a lot of these we get calls, or they call these baits in, and these are pre-sold. Often now,
wow,
make the website, to be honest.
Jeez.
But this is a bait, that we're proud of, that we're partner up with, and we'll bring a lot more. So
is that one you would call sexy?
Yeah, I would call that sexy.
Yeah, I mean,
look at that thing.
Oh yes.
Look at the colors, the shape, the circuit board lip. Gosh.
And then, and then you have the brands. I mean, I think we're gonna work towards, we'll still carry some common goods. I mean, and then you got, I think Jason, you mentioned $1,000 bait, right? Bait's over $1,000 or more, but here's like a Roman made.
It's a brand new Roman made.
Oh my gosh.
That's a brand new color.
It's a new mother.
We're the only ones in the country that have that color right now.
Okay.
Everywhere.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's dope. And if anybody doesn't know Roman Made, which is still the most ironically named JDM lure ever, you know what I'm saying? That's like me in Wisconsin. I'm like, I got this new company. It's called Tennessee Shad. Like, what the F? Anyway, homeboy, I can't remember his name because I'm a moron. The dude who tied the largemouth record, he didn't catch it on a Roman Made. He caught it on live bait, but he had caught other fish around that size on Roman Made swim baits. They're giant, gorgeous hardwood carved swim baits with ridiculous paint jobs, and yeah, they're $600, $700 for a swim bait, and they are beautiful baits. Yeah.
But then we have some other brands that a lot of people have never heard of, but we're huge fans of. One of those is Keisu. They do mainly soft plastic stuff, but their soft plastics are phenomenal.
Okay.
And then another is Metatachi, and they do hard baits. He's going to show their brand new hard bait now.
And I just love swim baits in general. I love throwing big baits. Give me a big rod, big reel, big line, big baits. I just love that draw power that some of these baits bring in, and not just bass fishing. Even in Wisconsin and the Great Lakes, I used to throw these. Guys would look at me like I'm crazy, but these big glide baits on these big flats for smallmouth and draw them in, or even muskie fishing.
Yep.
And I was doing this in my teenage years before a lot of guys got into the swim bait game, even the boot tail swim bait game. And I always try to keep it on the low. So if someone's coming by the boat, I'd be that guy. I would dip my rod in the water. The bait wasn't be showing, or that rod would go right back in and the rod locker at the end.
Yeah, that's real talk.
Still does that.
I'm that guy.
Yeah, that's real
if
talk.
there's a boat coming by, he's like, put it down, put it down, put it down. I'm like, okay.
But here I am. I'm in change, and we've shared some of the love. But this is a one bait that, or even a company that it's not often heard about, but it's Metatachi. This is one of their glide baits. It's called a Gimkin. I know it's going to show up. But this is, they're very unique. They're very unique glide baits. And what's really unique about this is that you can change. This can be a real glide. It can be a dive. It has a switch in here in the bill. You can change the way this bait.
It's so cute. Can I say it's cute?
It's cute. Yeah, it is cute.
But we have so many of these baits, and then so many baits we have yet to upload even.
Wow.
There's too many. There's too many. You should see my house.
I would love to see that.
Yeah, he's like, please,
awesome.
Show me.
Yeah.
We have baits stored everywhere and so forth, because we're in the process. I don't know. Have you shared this?
Yeah.
Okay.
But, I mean, not.
Yeah, we haven't really gotten to that part of it yet. Yeah, like as far as like the story of the store and y'all's stepping in and going to the next level with it and whatever. So wherever you want to go with that. But if you do want to show any other baits, we'd love to see them. I could watch this stuff all day. Yeah. And so what those take baits are those hand carved? Because those are balsa, aren't they? Aren't take baits?
They're handcrafted baits.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Yep, different wood. I mean, every bait by them is very unique. It's not the same.
Yeah.
Say so.
And what does one of those take baits cost?
Depends.
Well,
it really does depend. We have some that start at $99, but then there are some that are almost $300. It just depends on the size and the amount of time that it took him to make and that kind of thing. Right. So
$99 for a lure like that is not a lot at all, honestly. Like in the world of JDM, big swim baits, custom crafted stuff, like it's just, like Mike was saying earlier, these are baits that you're going to throw that no one else is throwing. Like these fish have not, like one of my favorite lakes to go fish, especially when I'm trying new techniques, is near us. It's called Lake Wissota, because you can fish deep, you can fish rock, you can fish docks, scum, weed lines, humps, drop shot. That's another one. That's a JDM technique that nobody really even relates to being JDM because it's been so around for so long and it's so common. But I promise you, on Lake Wissota, nobody's seen one of those take swim baits. Nobody. Like no fish has seen it, and that's a pretty exciting deal.
It is. I mean, so I guess I'm kind of going back, I guess with the store side of things.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Question every week. People are learning that Carolina Fishing Tackle's back, right? It sounds like they're back bigger and stronger, and we are. Right now, we're open online. It's e-commerce only because we're in the process of building a brand new warehouse storefront and a showroom. Dedicated dedicated rod room, dedicated swim bait room.
Wow.
So we're, it's a process. It's a process for sure, but we want to do it right. We're going to come to the marketplace right, and we want to provide you with that wow factor and that amazing experience. Like, people would drive. We want people driving from hours.
I was just going to say, so when are we going?
Yeah, we'll go. Yeah,
we'll come see you.
It's going to be in Plymouth, North Carolina.
North Carolina. Okay.
Plymouth. I'm going to map it right now.
It's a big property. Plymouth is right below where Major League Fishing is this week, where the Bass Pro Tour is, which is south of Edenton, where they're launching out of. And that is we're on Route 64. That's the main thoroughway to the Outer Banks as well. So it's a big destination area, right? Everyone knows the big, beautiful Outer Banks.
Yep. But you all are hunters, so I mean, you might, or you talked about it anyways. But right now, the world's largest black bear festival is happening in Plymouth, North Carolina.
That's dope.
We have the largest population density of black bear in the world.
Yeah.
So
really, I didn't know that. I would have never guessed that would be in North Carolina. I almost just hit a black bear on my way to work the other day, so that was fun.
Oh boy,
that's not good.
No, not fun at all. But it's cool to see it
in our Prius.
Can I just in my commuter car, so I could get good gas mileage. Can I just say, this is so stupid. This has nothing to do with anything. So I'm sorry. Bears have the cutest butts ever. When they're running off in the woods, when he was like scurrying off, and they have like the really nubby little tail. I was like, oh, look at your butt, dude. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. I'm sure that wasn't something
It's
you thought
only
we were going to talk
17
about.
and a half hours for us to drive.
That's easy.
Easy peasy.
That's light work. That's light work. So let's do like the backstory, Mike, Amanda.
Sure.
Carolina Fishing Tackle. Like I said, I bought some of this stuff from y'all. This is a neat, can you show this to the camera? This is a really weird Lucky Craft lipless crankbait that I don't know if it's really a thing anymore. It's a super weird shape. It has like can you show it from the front? It's got it's even like triangular sort of. And then it has like a replaceable tail. I got that from Carolina Fishing Tackle forever ago. But yeah, so CFT has been a thing for a hot minute, and you guys aren't the original owners. How did you get to where you are right now? How did you link up with Doyle? How did you decide to buy it? Like, what's that story look like?
So it's a pretty wild story. And I guess it really goes back to me working in the fishing industry. And I used to sell to Doyle. I used to sell fishing rods to Doyle way back many years ago. And so I got to see him progress and grow. But I remember the first time I ever walked to that store, especially the Mooresville location, the location by Lake Norman. But man, you walked in there and you said, wow, it had that wow factor. You were blown away. You were impressed. This isn't a shop that you went into. That was your ordinary shop. A shop that you go in and out of. It's not, you could spend hours there.
Yeah.
Times, just within half an hour, you'd see guys just fill their baskets, and people from all over would come here. And that's all I used to hear about. And I made a business trip there my first time to meet Doyle, to learn a bit more about this operation and see how we could ever work together in the future on product and team up with some marketing initiatives and so forth. And, I took a ride down there from New York my first time. I said, I had some appointments in Virginia, and I said, I'm going to make the trip to go see this Carolina Fishing Tackle. And I did, and I was blown away, and I'll never forget that wow factor I left with. And I said, man, this is an operation that's like no other. And I've got to travel the East Coast to West Coast international, and I've traveled overseas and seen some of the greatest shops you can ever imagine. But CFT was always very unique because they would carry, like you said, Jordan, unique baits like that Lucky Craft that you had in hand. They carry the exotics. And they would typically be one of the first to get those baits from overseas, and not just Japan alone. That's what made it so special. Or like we showed a Roman made. You just don't find Roman made everywhere. To have the latest and greatest color in Japan. People drive hours from that. And I know he was always, Doyle was always known for having a mega bass room, this huge showroom in the back of the store. And you could just spend 2 hours just looking at a mega bass selection alone.
And I would.
He would.
Yeah, for sure.
So you've been there, Jordan. Yeah.
No. I'm saying like theoretically I would. It'd be more than 2 hours. I would pick up every bait and look at every color code. And no, I haven't been there.
Show
no,
each
I
one
bought it all
me
online.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And it's but it just had that wow factor. I said, and you'll never forget it. And these are touring professionals, whether it be on the Elite Series or Major League Fishing. It's a stop they always make.
Yeah, I bet.
Not every time I made a stop there'd be someone in town. There was an event in Norman or so forth, or they're passing through to go up north from the south to go fish a lake, in the North Country. They had stopped at Carolina Fishing Tackle, and these guys would buy and buy and buy, and I couldn't believe it. So I always kept that in the back of my mind. I'm saying, wow, this place really is special. It's unique. These guys are driving from afar to come here. So that made a statement in itself. And I said, I'm going to keep that in the back of mind. And then Doyle always, Doyle and I built not just a business relationship. We built a good friendship over the last couple of years several years. And he was just that guy that, man, you could just talk to wide open, just have a nice conversation. And my first visit there, we went out to eat. And matter of fact, we had tacos. We went to
Hey.
You see, fishing tacos.
We were gabbing for hours, and I wanted to learn more about his business and what he did, and we were into it. And it was past closing time. He goes, "Hey," he goes, "Do you have anywhere to be tomorrow?" I said, "I don't." I said, "Not right off the, not early morning." He goes, "Would you like to join me for dinner?" And we went to a Mexican restaurant not too far, and we just had a wonderful conversation and some great tacos, and we just kept in touch. And every time I come through or pass through for work, I stop at Carolina Fishing Tackle and visit with Doyle, and that relationship grew stronger and stronger, and and that's how we you know, and I always told him this too. I said, I left this seed in the back of his mind. I goes, if you ever decide to sell or want to get out of it and live, you know, he had a vision of creating a skate shop and so forth, BMX bikes, and kind of live his childhood, because he's a SoCal gentleman, and he moved here on the East Coast, and he grew up doing that. And so, but I always said, if you ever want to, you know, if you ever decide to possibly sell, you know, let me know. I'd always be interested. And that opportunity came about this past year.
Huh. So and he just reached out to you and was like, hey man, you said that. Are you being serious? You
planted that seed.
Yeah, you planted the seed, but like, did he just full blown tell you like, hey, I'm actually thinking about selling, or how did that look?
Yeah, it was, I think I mean, it was out there. It wasn't, you know, it was public for a little bit.
Okay.
And, you know, it's a hard decision to make, right?
Yeah, sure.
You have a lot invested into it. It's going to take a lot of time. It's a big deal. It's you know, it's a risk, but it's a risk that was calculated to us, so it's worth taking. And here we are in North Carolina. We got you know, Amanda and I had a new home here last year we made in North Carolina, so it's good timing. We're here in state.
Wow.
You know, we got together and we have another partner that's silent on this as well. And we said, let's do it. If we're going to do it, we're going to do it right, as Doyle would say, and we're going to go all in, and it's going to be full sun. So
wow.
We're in a pretty
exciting.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
That's really exciting. So what do you have I know construction is construction, but do you have any kind of like launch date, or when you're looking at having the store ready to rip?
So we were hoping, I guess not the fishing touches, but we were hoping the warehouse and storefront will be ready to where consumers can shop at the store at the end of the year.
Okay.
Woo.
Finishing touches and everything like that. So we're hoping, right? Don't want to live on hope, but
yeah, you don't you don't want your house overtaken by tackle anymore, Amanda?
Yes, I would love to have my dining room back.
Yeah,
I was going to say that kitchen table's covered.
Yeah, that's a good problem to have. I mean, I'd be stoked. I wouldn't want the dining room back personally.
You'd be like, just leave it. I just want to look at them.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask y'all this, and this is just to justify my own ridiculousness. You know how they say like some lures are for fish and some lures are for fishermen? I kind of like the idea that some lures are just so sexy that I just like, you know, I don't know how many, I think I have 34 Bass Mafia boxes in my boat. And very often I'll just come out here and like, just look at them.
He says, I'm going to change the laundry. We moved our laundry out into our garage, right? It's like, I'm just going to change the laundry over. 45 minutes later, and I'm like, hanging out with the kids. Yeah. I'm like, where's Dad? And they're like, didn't he go to the garage? I was like, I am. And then Vinny will come out. Oh, he was looking at lures again.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, look at
Vinny,
this.
Check this out.
I'm like, look at this. Look at this Nichene paint job on this Erie jerk bait. The eye is so crazy.
And
that's
then
like a matte finish.
I slowly start losing all the kids because they're all out here on the boat.
And I'm showing them stuff. I'm like, you can't even get this in stores. I got this one limited edition from whatever. Yeah. I mean, is there anything wrong with that, Mike? Or can you help me?
No, I'm that guy.
He's that guy. 100% that guy. Dinner rolls around and I'm like, are you gonna come eat? Yeah, I'll be there. Right, I'll be right there.
It's like I'll be there.
The food's getting cold.
It's so fun though. Like I used to think it was stupid. Like, no, I'm supposed to have tackle to catch fish, and I do, but I love it. Like the tackle's just fun.
Too.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, but it's
new PS or FedEx. You have that box coming, arriving, you're waiting for it. So eagerly, like, man, we're jumping into it. We can't.
Especially when it shows up with a bunch of Japanese printing on it. You're like, this is the juice.
Oh yeah,
this is
check this out.
Yeah, well, when the instructions come and they're gonna lick of English on it, you're like, yes, dude, this is it. So I'm sure you know, obviously, the company Nichene Lure Works. Their lures are freaking gorgeous, and their graphic arts are terrible. Like everything is like, what's that font, that serif? What is it called?
For what?
For
their font. Sans serif,
yeah,
like that super terrible, scripty, awful font, and and I love when like Japanese lures obviously use like Google Translate or something, and it's like lure work good fish deep or something. And I'm like, what the hell? Like that's not even how you'd say that, but they clearly like their language lost something translating to our language. But the lures are so juicy and just so pretty, and you know, like Nichene has that It's called the Baby Abino. It's like a topwater bait that has this weird little like floppy metal thing that hangs. Oh my gosh. They just,
Amanda's like, I know what you're talking about.
They just like, I mean, no, yeah, like no diss to Berkeley, no diss to like all these big American companies, but they're just not doing it the same. You know, they're just not. I love it. I freaking love it. So where are you guys going next? We'll get you guys off of here in, I don't know, 15 minutes or something. And again, we are so pumped you were willing to jump on with us. But what is next for Carolina Fishing Tackle? I know the store and whatever, sticky sharp hooks on these JDM bad boys. The store and whatever, but where do you guys see this going? What's the vision for Carolina Fishing Tackle?
We have a lot of opportunities. I guess we kind of been blessed, and we have a great partner in on this too as well. And gosh, it's endless, to be honest with you, Lola and Jordan. We have anything, you know, we're building a warehouse to possibly serve as a distributor for manufacturers and to distribute some product that has yet to come to the U.S. You know, with retailers and so forth. And so that's something we're working towards actively and has been presented to us. So being a distributor for some of these manufacturers, we are also having on the same property, we'll have RV and boat storage and
that's cool.
marine services.
Okay.
So
nice.
It's going to be very unique. It's not just your simple installs with electronics and trolling motors and your standard marine accessories. We're gonna go all in, but I think, you know, first and foremost, I think we're going to expand into the saltwater market. And carry some of the JDM and try to do what, you know, and carry the model, I guess, the JDM model that we always have with CFT and continue that, but really expand into the saltwater game.
This is such a big deal.
Yeah, dude,
so
seriously.
exciting.
Yeah, that's all.
We have a great opportunity here. It's a strategic location, and we love saltwater fishing. I love it. Amanda knows it. It's starting to take over my bass fishing, to be honest with you. So it's tough. I mean, inshore fishing especially, it's just like bass fishing, but it's like you get hooked on the trout and the redfish and so forth and striper fishing and more. And then we have the big game opportunities with tuna, mahi, and billfish. It's endless here. So I think that's first and foremost, we'll probably expand into saltwater and then provide those other services and maybe have a little coffee shop.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, if you're gonna do it. Also, man, y'all should literally, like, really, actually, you should link up with the guy that we just had on your episode, Stinky Pants Fishing. Yeah, Jason. Yeah, he makes some awesome stuff, and that's specifically what he does. Is that inshore redfish, the what is it called, speckled sea trout type specific stuff, and his gear is just flawless, super well made, super well thought through. I mean, they're selling it at Bass Pro now, which is pretty amazing. So he's doing well. Y'all should definitely link up there, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Hey, take 2 seconds. Tell us about Manifold swim baits.
Manifold. Yeah.
You're talking about the horsehide leather, can be massive swim baits.
Okay, so like, I don't want to get all up in your wallet, but like, do people actually buy these things? They look awesome, but they're $1,500 for a bait, like a singular lure. And I know, like, to me, buying a Mega Bass 110 plus 2 is nothing now. $30 on a jerk bait.
Right.
You're talking about 13, 14, 15. I think some of them are 1,600 depending on the finish. Yeah. And they're actually covered in horse leather, right? Like what? And
people do use them. And then you have a consumer that loves to collect. I mean, we have a big population that just loves to collect baits. We have a consumer that buys, we get them in, we get this exclusive color pattern in this glide bait or a big swim bait. The price isn't a factor. It could be $500, it could be $1,000, it could be $1,500. And this gentleman just loves them as a conversation piece, and he has shadow boxes after shadow boxes of these baits.
Oh my gosh!
He probably has 30, 40 mates that are their mothers, right? Gosh, so they're $600 or more. And the same with Manifold. You have those collectors and the people that really appreciate.
Look at the size of the box. Look at the size of the box.
Gigantic.
Dude, if you're listening to this episode, you
That's
really
crazy.
need to switch over to YouTube. You got to watch this one.
Yeah.
This is too good of an episode for like show and tell. You got to watch this one.
I don't even know.
Oh my gosh. I was not. I just what?
And then there's smaller versions, but
Oh, just a little
Right.
bitty guy.
I know.
That was like my
If you
whole arm.
Yeah.
Dude,
In
I've only seen
person,
pictures
they're
of
like-
them.
I
I've
mean-
never seen it to scale. Hold that up again, would you, Amanda? Holy hell.
Like,
Look at that thing.
It is quite large, but
Like Mike is out of the frame now. He's covered in bait.
yeah.
Like, what size hooks are you throwing on that thing?
I would throw it and then I'd be like, I got something and think
oh, no,
that was it.
this
It's just
giant ass lure.
Yes.
That's incredible.
It's almost
That is
4
absolutely
pounds.
incredible.
Just so everyone is aware, it's 43 ounces.
Oh my gosh.
it's a big swim bait.
So you're throwing that on like a heavy musky rod or something. I mean, you can't even throw that on a swim bait rod. I mean, holy moly.
You're throwing it on rope, basically. Like,
I mean, well, yeah, because you ain't losing it. You're not losing that thing. How do we know? Does it sink? Does it float? Is it a slow sink?
oh, it sinks. It's like a dead
That
weight.
makes me so nervous.
Yeah.
goodbye.
Buy $1,500 bait.
I mean, I
Goodbye,
think that
paycheck.
one is probably more like, hey,
Well, that's a
I've-
collector's.
you know, I
mean,
collect
people,
these things.
yeah, it's
but
Yeah.
you know,
yeah, they
it's
do
a
have
show.
reasonably sized ones that people do throw that aren't like these giant things. So
Yeah. I have such a weird burning desire right now to buy that and fish it until I catch a fish on it. Like, I just think that'd be so fun
Probably
to like,
not in our
like
lake.
how funny would that be? Like straight up, like I said, Lake Wissota, you know, like a common lake where there's anglers everywhere. To roll up to a dock and everybody's flipping jigs on it. And I'm like, just throwing a cinder block in the water, 43 ounces of white, giant horse leather Japanese bait. People are like, hey, what is that? I'm like, don't even look at it. Don't
look
soil
at
it.
Start
right now.
charging
Yeah.
admission.
Yeah, this is a $1,600. Yeah, I should do like a GoFundMe.
Yeah.
Help Jordan
Yeah.
buy a ridiculous lure. Nate, would you throw something like that, Nate? Would you maybe not that one, but like the littler one? Do you have that one still there, Mike? Like that orangish one?
And we should get, these are,
the
like I was
quality
saying,
of
these are collectors. But I mean, Manifold makes some baits that, man, they catch. And I should go get some of those.
Yeah, they have like that 3 jointed, like weird bluegill
Yeah.
one, right? Where it's like a joint on top, the bottom, and the back, right? I've seen that one. Those are really neat looking.
But these really are, they're pretty amazing, like as far as their quality goes.
It's beautiful looking, sure.
And
Yeah.
honestly, Manifold, if you look at their website, fishing lures aren't the first thing that come up, it's purses. So, I mean, they are
Really?
leather
Oh, wow.
experts.
We should get a
so-
sponsorship.
Right.
The quality is absolutely phenomenal. I can't even say that I have put one of these in the water. I'm scared to.
Yeah, no
Scared
kidding.
that
makes sense.
I'll have some old rotten like rope and it'll just break off and oops, there goes $600.
Bye bye.
Yeah.
So, but I
Well-
mean, they really are impressive whenever you see them in person.
Yeah.
But it takes seeing them in person. Whenever I first looked at that one, I'm like, what is this? Is an ice skate? Because it's got that big
Yeah,
blade
little
on the
metal
front.
thing on the front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're on that giant one, you can actually see where like the hide is like sewn together around the bait. Is the smaller one like that too? Because I
You
mean
can,
that's so
yes.
unique and just really cool looking. Like
Yeah.
that, yeah, just an awesome kind of design and you know, real specific
Very
detail.
specific, very unique.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because I know Manifold makes baits that are like what, $70, 60, like some
Yeah.
cool weird jointed. Not everything they make is
And we
you
have,
know,
we
a
have
paycheck.
here.
Yeah, that's their.
Yeah, like that. Like
Yeah.
I've always wanted one of those. Those are so freaking
It's
cool
so
looking.
Cool.
Yeah.
That is that is awesome.
They do have some really crazy motion. It feels like you're playing with a toy because it just like bends everywhere,
over,
but the
yeah.
swim is so smooth. So
So nice.
Have y'all have thrown those yourselves?
We have, and
Yeah.
this is a bait. I mean, this is one that will. I mean, this is, you know, I don't fit everyone's comfort level, but it catches.
Yeah.
It does. It flat out catches.
Yeah.
And you don't have
Gosh,
to be.
I feel like I need one of those.
I was just
Yeah,
gonna say
me
I
too,
want
dude.
one.
Oh, I know. Well, dude, we can go. We can jump. I know a place.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can jump online as soon as this podcast is done and snatch one because they look awesome. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely should. So, how do people? Okay, let's semi wrap up. Nate, Lola, you got any other questions before we get into details on how people can find them and all that good stuff? Nate, I know your wheels are spinning because you're not as dorky JDM-y as I am, but you are a tackle junkie.
Yeah, I'm definitely a tackle junkie. I just this like whole episode has like brought me back to like linking up with you when you were living in Moline, and we're like in your basement, and you're like opening your back boxes, showing me all your mega bass and lucky crafts.
Little
yeah,
cuties.
like I had just gotten into fishing. I've been at least the bass scene for the last couple of years, and then like you showing me all these like crazy lures, and I'm like, this whole episode has like reminded me of that like so much. It's super dope. Yeah,
a really expensive show and tell.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And the funny thing is too, is like, if you think about it, even just black and white logical, 99% of people, and this is not a diss, and I'm not just saying that to balance it, it's not, but 99% of people who buy, let's say like a KVD Strike King jerkbait, which is a fine jerkbait, it's got a weight transfer system. Some of the new premium finishes have really good colors, but 99% of the people who grab those out of the box are switching out the trebles immediately. 99% of the people are switching out size of trebles, usually putting like maybe a size bigger on the front to get it to lean head first, whatever. Some people are switching out the split rings. By the time you do that,
the quality, all of
the price, by the
Yeah.
time you do that, you're somewhere flirting in the range of like a good Jackal re-range jerkbait, or a Mega Bass 110, or a like a Lucky Craft pointer, or what, like all these JDM things. And it's like, I'm not saying that's not a good thing, but like, you can just grab you a JDM thing and out of the box, just chuck it.
Just go fishing.
The colors are second to none. The hooks are second to none. I don't know. And it's unique. It's a little bit more unique that way. It's uniquer, which is fun.
Uniquer.
Yeah. So how do people, Mike, Amanda, how do people find you? What's your website? What's your social? Let them have it.
Yeah. So we're online, carolinafishingtackle.com, and then any of the socials, we're out on TikTok. Not a big fan of like having to do all of these videos and all of this social media. Just like things, I'm just like,
it's
I'm not
constant,
in it.
Dude. Yeah.
So it's work for me, but we're also on Instagram and Facebook, of course. So yep.
And what is your app?
Carolina Fishing Tackle.
Just Carolina Fishing Tackle.
Perfect.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I love it. Mike, you got anything else to add? We just want to say thank you for being on the show, man. You guys killed it. You got me all fired up, like re-fired up on some stuff.
Sounds like we got to get you to the grand opening and have you. We got to get you down here.
That would be
man.
so
we would be
fun.
pumped to come down. So just so you know, I'm not trying to sell us to you, but just so you know, like myself and Nate, and then Lola helped out too later on. But we used to do like video production work, like for Denali Rods. Like we did all their iCast videos and things like that. And Gil Tech, one of our sponsors, we've done like commercials for them. And so if you need somebody like production wise, come your launch. I'm like, no joke. We would love to come down and hang out, do some videos, photos. It'd be fun as crap.
We do.
We need help. We're working like 60, that's right, 60, 70 hours a week, and we're running out of time. We have, thousands and thousands and thousands of items that we have yet to even upload to the website.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yep. We both have our day jobs. This is kind of like our dream, but for now we have to have our day jobs too. So then in the evening, it's like,
it's nonstop.
Just you don't relax, you don't sleep. Yeah. Plus you're trying to find. Well, the funny thing is too is like y'all's passion, like what you're doing for the shop, is actually something you like to do. So then you're on this weird, tight space of like, all right, I love getting this JDM stuff up online, but also I want to go daggum fish, and I also have a day job, and I have a life, and I have bills, and I have a shop being built, and man, life is a steamroller, dude. Like if you don't stop it, it'll run you over sometimes. But yeah, I hope you guys are getting a good balance on it, because we love what you're doing.
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
We love
absolutely.
It. That's why we're doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right on. Okay. Well, thank you guys again for being on the show. We appreciate you so much. And
we'll see you at the grand opening.
Yeah, for sure. We wish you nothing but the best of luck.
That invite's open to everyone here. So
absolutely. Cool. All right, guys. We appreciate you. Thank you. All right, Mike and Amanda. Bye-bye.
Awesome. See you later. Peace.
We're zooming in.
I don't know what I'm all zoomed in on my screen here. And then it's just me. But yeah, if you're listening to this episode, dude, trust me, you want to watch this episode.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. I could not believe the effing scale of that manifold bait.
I wasn't expecting that. She like showed the box. I was like, wow, it's big. And then she held it up and it was like, oh,
it's legit. Like you said, it's your arm.
Yeah.
It's like, there's no way people actually fish with that. Do they, Nate? Are people fishing with that?
No, I think if they do, like, it's just because like they want to do something funny. Like that is 100% a conversation, like wall man piece. Like you put that up and like somebody comes into your house and they're like, what is
the
that?
hell?
And you know, like, yeah, exactly.
And then you go,
like,
hey, it's $1,600.
Yeah. Here, let's go out to the backyard. I'll show you how it swims, though.
Yeah,
you know?
let me throw it in the pool, but it can only go about a foot because otherwise it takes up the whole pool. Yeah. I wasn't about to ask, of course, because it'd be wildly inappropriate, but I am so curious. Like, what is the cost on something like that? Is there a lot of margin in that, you think? Like, does it cost them $800? Does it cost them $1,300 and they're making $50 on it? You know, I have no earthly idea. Because, you know, like when we worked at Gander, Nate, like there were certain things like ammo and guns, there was next to no markup whatsoever. And then there was like shirts that cost us $2 and we sold for $20. You know, it's just stupid markup. And then some fishing lures had a bunch of markup. When I worked at Shields, I'm not supposed to talk about this, so hopefully Shields isn't listening. But like with my discount, which was a really, really good discount, again,
it's very generous.
Shout out Shields. It's a great place to work, truly. But the discount is really, really legit, but it's all based on cost. There wasn't much of an employee discount on Megabass stuff.
Yeah.
So there wasn't that much margin. I have no idea. Does that hold true to something ridiculous like that manifold bait?
I don't know.
Yeah, you have to think so. Like, gosh.
Yeah.
The cost, you obviously the cost to produce it, the cost to import it, bring it in.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, there's a lot of factors there. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, they buying those one at a time, and
yeah, they have to
hold them or right. Like, golly.
Yeah, because that orangish, that sherbety looking one, that could actually catch big fish. I mean, that's you're only targeting big fish with that. But that one, you know, was what, maybe a foot long or something. You know, that one you're only but it could actually that white one. I don't. I just can't get over it. But then also that manifold, that little like 3 or 4 piece jointed bluegill bait.
Want one.
Incredible. Like it's not a joint like
absolutely
vertically across the bait. There's like
really
horizontal and vertical joints in it. So it's like she said, it's got to just swim bananas and just move. What a cool couple people to have on though. They're both really cool. Mike was so thorough in like his explanation of stuff and how they got into it, and he talks slow and like easy to understand, and she was like so supportive and cool, and
love it.
She knew her crap forwards and backwards, and man, yeah, that was a really fun, like you said, that was the first female we've ever had on the show. That's wild.
It was cool.
Yeah, that's really neat. Anyway, so yeah, please, I mean, really, JDM stuff is such a cool world. If you're listening to this and maybe you're new into fishing and you don't know what we're talking about, just look it up. It's just a cool kind of side world of fishing, beautiful lures, stuff that not all of it's ungodly expensive, by the way. That's sort of like the thing you hear about JDM. It's not all like that. Like Lucky Craft 1.5 square bills are like $7, and that's as JDM as it gets, and they're gorgeous and they're not expensive. Some of the soft plastic stuff is not unbelievably expensive. Obviously some of it is, but not all of it is. So it's not unattainable. And CarolinaFishingTackle.com has the selection. I mean, it's everything you can imagine they have there. So I think that's it. Check them out. We appreciate you guys for tuning in, and yeah.
See you on the next one.
Nate?
Positivity is worth the effort. Peace.
Bye.
Positivity is worth the effort. We love you. Peace.
Smash that like.
Smash that subscribe button, hoe bag.